conception to screen.
So how long did the production take from conception to screen?
Started in 2007. Myself and Mark developed the project together. David came on about 2 years later. And we went to camera May of 2011, so 4 years. Which is, I think, pretty standard in Canada. 3 to 5 years, I would say, for the development of a project.
Okay, question over here.
Bit of a spin-off question from that. Because Sean's character was so much internalization, from where your original concept started, did it finish where you thought it might?
Sorry, I'm just going to repeat. Is this a question for Jason? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is about the character of Sean, and did his character sort of end up where you thought he would?
To clarify, do you mean from finished script through casting and then how Connor interprets the role?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've said this in a couple of interviews this weekend, is that when a director casts an actor, you have to hand the role over to that actor. You don't believe that's true?
Sure, yeah, that happened.
And the Sean on the page was, I would say, angrier and more unlikable, just on the page. And then I cast this guy, and it changes. But you embrace that, and I mean, I'm not suggesting that, any regrets whatsoever. I mean,
if you could have been more unlikable, but
it was a concern in development of the project that the character would perhaps be too unlikable, and I think that's nobody's experience. At least people I've talked to watching the movie, that there's any question of empathizing with this character. I think that's Connor. I think he brings that. And I think that subtlety and those layers that he brings to the restraint in his performance is, in my mind, extraordinary.
I think there was a hand up over here somewhere. Right there?
I'm just wondering what your motivation was for wanting to tell this story.
Okay, so what was your motivation for wanting to tell this story?
Yeah, well, at the time, there was a lot of these types of stories that popped up in the media and in Canada and in the US as well, but specifically in Canada with the Young Offenders Act, often youth don't have a voice, or it's not reported. Our journalists in the media, they tend to report what the authorities are saying or what the school council is saying or what the principal is saying, but because young offenders, their names are protected and the faces, the likenesses are protected, that they, the voices are negated, essentially. And I found it really interesting how the Young Offenders Act is inverted in that way and is often used to deny a voice, a young person's voice. So it was interesting that these kinds of cases were popping up all the time. And when I was a kid, people made death threats to each other all the time, but it was in passing. It was very, very commonplace. It's part of growing up. It's embellishment. Teens are prone to melodrama, but now it's computer forensic evidence, so there's implications, and I think we're in the infancy in terms of the technology, and so, yeah, I wanted to look at that.